So you find yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted, or you've learned about cluster B and are choosing to make your mental health a priority, and you've decided to leave the narcissist. Congratulations, that takes balls. The first thing you're going to want to do is keep this information to yourself. When we first learn about narcissistic abuse, it's natural to want to share this information with friends and family, as perhaps for the first time ever, our lives and these relationships finally start making sense. It can also be tempting to want to share this information with the narcissist themselves, either out of anger or out of some naive hope they can change. I mean, narcissists can change, but they have to want to, and this is exceedingly rare, as in their minds, not only have they mastered life, but they're also the smartest person who's ever lived. So to them, it's like, well, why would I change? I'm already perfect. So if they know that you know, all this does is enrage them further. And either you'll be dealing with much worse projections and smearing, or they'll change manipulation tactics to get you back under control until they can figure out how to destroy you without damaging their reputation. Your knowledge truly is your power in this situation. Don't give away your power. Also, if the narcissist feels vulnerable to exposure, or if they feel you're endangering their other sources of supply, this is when this gets physically dangerous, because you don't know what this person is capable of because you don't actually know this person. I don't care if they're an immediate family member or if you've known them for years or even decades. Who you see as a narcissist is merely a tailor-made persona utilized solely to interact with you. It's the individualized mask they wear that they think will extract the maximum amount of supply out of you. It's sad to say, but you've never actually met the real them. So in regards to your physical safety, you have to think of them as a total stranger. So you're going to act like nothing's changed and act like you don't know shit about cluster B. It's not going to be easy, but you must act oblivious to the stonewalling and over-explain yourself like you always have and act triggered by the things that have always triggered you. And whatever you do, don't tell them you're leaving. I made this mistake. I didn't know about cluster B. I just assumed I was dealing with someone petulant, but I thought if I could be thankful and respectful and give them plenty of notice, that would keep things civil. And it did not. They became so insufferable and so verbally abusive that I had to leave right then and there, way before I was ready. Narcissists don't comprehend nuance. Everything is about them, and everyone is either for them or against them. All good or all bad. Winner or loser. In their minds, you leaving is you discarding them before they could discard you. So if they know you're leaving and you're not the primary supply, at this point they will abuse you with abandon. If they're overt or lower functioning, they will likely project through violence, trying to rid themselves of the negative feelings triggered by your perceived abandonment. If they're covert, higher functioning, or antisocial, they'll likely verbally abuse. This is also projection, but with the added goal of doing as much damage to your psyche as possible. You are not dealing with a rational person. This is not a time for decorum. This is a time for survival. So you're going to plan in secret. And if you must share information with people, make sure it's only with trusted friends and family that have zero contact with the narcissist. If you need to save money, do so in a new secret account with the debit card or checks hidden in your car or in storage. And you may want to begin forwarding select correspondence to a P.O. box or your new residence. Obviously, if you're receiving no mail, that will alert them, so don't do a full forwarding until a week before the move. Mail forwarding isn't instant. It will take the post office a few business days to process. You're also going to want to secure all identification and important documents, either at your new residence or in storage. And right before the time of the actual move, you'll want to change all passwords and log out of all shared devices. When it comes to the actual move, the best time to do so is when no one's there. If that's not an option, you'll want an acquaintance of the narcissist there to help you move, or at least witness the move. Someone that the narcissist knows but doesn't know too well. Narcs are much more concerned with what acquaintances and strangers think about them than the people close to them, so you can use this quirk to your advantage. If someone is present that the narcissist knows on a casual level, they're going to want to mask up. It's not foolproof, but chances are this will temporarily keep you safe. And If you can't find anyone willing who meets this criteria, you're going to want the authorities there to oversee the move. I cannot stress this enough. You don't know this person, therefore you don't know what they're capable of once their abandonment trauma is triggered. You are extremely vulnerable at this point. Once you're finally out, block them from all social media. Don't accept any friend requests from any new accounts or anyone you don't know or anyone you suspect to be a recon agent for the narcissist. If possible, don't tell any of the flying monkeys where you live or where you work. No contact is always the gold standard, but if that isn't viable, you're going to want to restrict communication to one single text-based medium. Archive every interaction with the narcissist and anyone in their harem. Absolutely no phone calls or in-person interactions. Avoid any settings where it will be your word versus that of the narcissist and their flying monkeys, because this is the point where if some narcissist can't abuse you directly, they will utilize the criminal justice system to abuse you by proxy. And if frivolous police reports and lawsuits get filed, you'll be grateful you kept all correspondence to either email or a single messaging app. Eventually, the police stop taking them seriously, or the narcissist becomes too preoccupied with new supply, and you won't have to worry about them as much anymore. Just keep your cards close to the vest, and you'll weather the storm just fine. Now, here's a bonus tip for you advanced no-contactors. Once you've severed ties with the narcissist, you're going to tell everyone that your life sucks. When we first learn about cluster B and finally leave a narcissist's sphere of influence, there's a lot of anger, but there's also a lot of magic. I've heard some survivors equate it to being released from prison or waking up from a coma, and I can definitely attest to that. The freedom can feel almost overwhelming. Plus, it's fun getting reacquainted with the real you and your true potential. But if a narcissist sees you doing well, that's only going to embolden them. So if you're still on social media, make posts about how you're struggling. And when the flying monkeys reach out to you, just to see how you're doing, you are doing terrible. Obviously, you can't lay it on too thick, but you can tell them you're having health problems or you're struggling finding stable housing or employment. You can tell them money is really tight. The worse a narcissist thinks you're doing, the less they'll feel compelled to meddle in your life. Now, this video was inspired by an email I received from a young lady asking for advice on how to move away from toxic parents. And while it's awful to see so many abusers exploiting the high cost of living, it's also kind of amazing to see kids 18, 19 learning about NPD. Why we aren't teaching this stuff in schools is beyond me. I truly believe narcissistic abuse is the existential issue of our lifetimes. I've never been more sure of anything. And could you imagine if we taught this stuff to kids in elementary school? Even if we taught this at a high school level, I feel like we'd be living in a very different world. And that is actually something I'm working on in the real world, but I'm getting off topic here. I hope this video was helpful, and good luck with your escape.